Chelsea.
And I'm Lauren.
And we are
The Financial Diet.
And today we're going to be talking about something that most of you have likely already done or are going to be doing very soon, which is renting your house or apartment. Now, renting is obviously a great option, especially if you're just starting out, just out of college, and are not in any position to be buying a home. But renting is also a dynamic which can often put the renter at a disadvantage, especially if they don't know their rights.
So everyone's bound to make a few mistakes when they first start out. I know that Chelsea and I both did. For example, when I first started renting, I didn't take photos of the unit, and I also didn't ask for a receipt upon paying the first and last month's rent, which you should always do.
So even though you're likely to make a few small mistakes like that, there are definitely ways to protect yourself against the bigger ways you might get screwed over. The unfortunate truth is that a lot of people in the renting world do not have the best intentions and are looking out for themselves and their money. So these are the top 5 ways that you might get screwed over when renting an apartment so that you can protect yourself.
Number 1 is landlords overcharging or hiding certain fees. So in nearly every rental situation, you're going to have to put some money down up front. This could be anything from the first and last month's rent to a security deposit to a move-in fee. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that all the fees that you're paying are legal ones, that your landlord can actually charge you.
In extremely competitive rental environments, it's not uncommon for landlords to charge exorbitant and even illegal fees because they know the market is so competitive.
Make sure that you're clear on what is and isn't refundable, what you can expect to get back when you move out, and how fees are calculated. And remember, you have every right to ask for receipts and documentation of every payment that you're making.
And separate from all of the actual apartment's fees, if you're working with a broker like Lauren and I did and therefore paying a broker's fee, remember that that fee is often negotiable and should always at least be asked about.
We linked out to a few really helpful resources in the description below, which talks about the different deposits and fees you might be asked to pay.
They'll help you decide if what you're being charged is appropriate. Number 2 is the landlord or management company being dishonest about damages. As Lauren mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's extremely important when you move into a new place to take photos, ideally timestamp photos, of the state of the apartment when you moved into it. This is especially important if there are any damages or repairs that need to be made or old fixtures that may soon break. You must keep a record of these photos because if it ever comes down to your word versus your landlord's on who damaged what, you would be surprised how many landlords will lie their asses off. And them claiming that you caused damages can mean anything from them withholding your security deposit to them taking you to court. Of course, in an ideal world, you would never move into a place that has outstanding repairs to be done, but sometimes you can't avoid it. And what you must do in that situation is have a written record of telling your landlord that you demand those repairs be made, along with photographic evidence that they were there. It may never become an issue, but if it ever does, you need to be protected.
Number 3 is having ineffective management or an unreliable landlord. So as a renter, you're typically not on the hook to pay for repairs needed in your place. It's the landlord's job to make sure that the building and the unit is both safe and comfortable to live in. And having a lazy, slow, or unreliable landlord means that those essential repairs are not getting made.
Also, depending on where you live, there are often renters' rights in place that allow you to withhold rent payment if essential repairs are not being made.
Dealing with an unreliable landlord is difficult, and we'll link out to resources in the description below to help you through that. Another thing that landlords are responsible for is giving you back your security deposit once you move out if there were no damages in the apartment that were your fault.
Depending on where you live, there are different guidelines on the requirement your landlord has to pay you back this deposit in a timely fashion. And this should also be outlined in your lease. When it comes to your rent each month, as well as your deposits and fees, know your rights. Number 4 really piggybacks on that previous point, and it is not having a paper trail. Almost every interaction you have with a landlord or management company should be had in writing. Not only should all of the details of your rent, your utilities, of your refundables, of your fees be outlined in the lease, any contact that you have with your landlord or management about any issues in the apartment should be happening from day one via email or snail mail. For example, if you come to a time when you need to break your lease because of issues in the apartment, your landlord can easily withhold your deposit if you do not have written proof from day one that you've been demanding repairs be made. It's up to you to prove as the renter that your landlord violated the terms of your lease. Otherwise, you have essentially no recourse. I have definitely made the mistake before of doing all of my complaining about an apartment issue via phone, and then when the time came to request my lease be broken early, having no way to prove why. I got lucky in the sense that my landlord was relatively cool about it and begrudgingly gave me my deposit back, but I realized that if it had gone to court, I would have been totally screwed.
Number 5 is having shady roommates. Of course, landlords can try to screw you over from time to time, but it's not only them that can do damage, it's also roommates. If you're moving in with roommates that you don't know, make sure that your name is getting put on the lease ASAP.
And quite frankly, even if you're living with your best friend, friend, you should both be on the lease, because if there's ever an issue, not being on the lease means you can do jack shit about it.
So if your name is not on the lease, you could potentially get duped into paying much more than your fair share, or your roommates could one day decide to kick you out for any number of reasons.
Fun fact, I'm in a Facebook group for people buying and selling and renting things in New York, and approximately once a week, some poster gets screamed at because they're trying to take advantage of naive people coming to New York by charging them about twice as much as their room in their apartment is worth so that they can basically live there for free.
And no matter what you're paying, you want to make sure that you are not caught in the middle of an illegal sublet situation.
We all want to assume the best in people, but the truth is that renting is often an extremely imbalanced power dynamic in which everyone involved is just trying to save a buck. Sometimes you luck out and get a great landlord or great roommates, but sometimes you can end up in a really messed up situation because you didn't protect yourself. So go into any rental situation knowing your rights and being prepared to fight for them.
So as always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and go to thefinancialdiet.com for more. Bye!